It's all right. I've been going through. I'll get into the introductions in a moment, but I've been working hard. Obviously, I've had to wear baggy pants. Been working hard at things which I can't go into yet. But when my printer decides to stop printing, I've been having a look at my newspaper archive. Do you know what they call a male chicken? Harry the cock. Can you remember that? Oh, hello, I'm Harry. I've done coke and weed. What a cock. I mean, can you remember that? Front of the currant bun? Harry, I did coke and weed. Here, mate. Foxtrot Oscar. Now, there is a reason why I showed you that. We'll get to that in a minute. And, Harry? 25 Taliban. It's in the newspaper, so it's got to be true. Young Harold. Making his mouth go. And look at this caring, understanding 90s type. Yeah, him. Got a bit on him. Not, well, soon. But as I keep saying to you, and not that I'm preaching at all this evening, but you know how I say, you can never trust what they print in the newspapers. Propaganda peddlers. Because they lie out their derriere. Honestly, I've expelled more intelligent stuff than what's in the newspapers. Can you remember this headline? We want Hugh back on TV, do we, Rolex? No, we don't. But it's that filthy left-wing rag, the Mirror. Oh, mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of us all? Not bloody Hugh. I've got mental health problems. Mental health problems. I've got mental health problems. Ah! Fuck off. So, not sure we're going to get to 2 hours tonight. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Do budge up. There's some newbies in this evening. So welcome, all you Kattenbergers. Oh, we're going to have to talk about that. Oh, most definitely. But as Andrew James has just opined, the confusing world of Benny Hinn is a must-read AA. Ooh. Actually, I think I saw... where have I seen that? I haven't read it, but... Hang on. Who's just told me to Foxtrot Oscar? Jib. I'm being gentle. I mean... So, can you see? This idiot. That idiot there. She was one of them that said, let's have you, Edwards, back on TV. No, let's not. And by the way, Scoop on Netflix, shite. So I'm not taking it. I posted something on a Facebook group a little earlier. And the thick, caring, understanding 90s time. Oh, what are you saying that for? Because I can. And I do. And I see through the fog of war. And that's what these lives are about. Because there's a bit of fog coming tonight. And I'm going to cut through it and give it to you straight. Over the arm of the sofa. Andy Turner says, good evening. Second in line, R.I.P. Brian McArdle was best known for playing Mafia boss John Thomas. Tommy Hunter in Line of Duty. Oh, holy Jesus Mary and the wee donkey. Mad Matt UK says, good evening, Adrian. Good evening, everyone. Oh, good evening, Mad Matt. Good evening, everyone. I hope May 1st. We'll talk about that in a second once I do, the housekeeping stuff. And Buck. Oh, Buck. Is that, hang on, Buck Rogers. What was his little, was it Tweaky? His little robot mate? Buck Rogers. Honestly. What was Ellen, what was his sidekick, the female sidekick? Hang on, who said that? Mick Rush says, "Give it to me, baby." That was Rick James. What a great song that is. Rick James, "Give it to me, baby." Oh, on Motown. And he says, what is he? "I'm pretty fly for a pink guy." Because we're not white, are we? If we were white, we'd look like a ghost. Oof. Honestly, I just feel like ranting and raving tonight. There's so much stuff. There's so much BS all over the mainstream media. That includes the telly. These idiots that sit there in the nice jacket and tie. Twats. It's me. It's not me Battenberg. I haven't had any. That's it. I'm getting withdrawal symptoms. I haven't had any Battenberg this evening. But it's just, you know. Because we'll get into it. I want to acknowledge everyone that was here at the beginning, everyone that's getting their feet into the pews. Make sure you're sitting on a cushion, because as I have found, much to my chagrin, hard wooden pews, not great for your piles. So make sure you budge up. Make sure there's plenty of room. Make sure we get everybody in, all the Battenbergers, all the Kattenbergers, all the ne'er-do-wells. And Andrew James says, Johnny and Edgar Winter, but Johnny and Edgar Winter. Edgar Winter, beg to differ. Andrew, what are you talking about, man? Have you been on the cooking sherry? I said to the choir boys, oh my God, Mick says the nail plank's not there. Do you know, I think the choir boys have been at it today, because I didn't give them any Mars bars. We didn't have a confessional today. Sadly, I was running about and being a bit busy. So the Rev was rocking, and we didn't have any confessionals. So the little choir boys, the caring, understanding 90s types, they've not put stuff out. No prayer books. If Andrew James has anything to go by, or the confusing world of Benny Hinn. I swear I know that, but I don't know why. To Buck, thank you. Are you a first Buck, or a first time? Because if you are, Vivian Kenyon. I'm not telling you what that means, Buck, but I've just popped your cherry, by the way. What topics are covered this evening, you wrong'uns? Oh, here we go. Do you know, you're a hard audience tonight. If you can get away with that, sneak it into town, as long as the missus doesn't find out. We're going to talk about Peter Kay. You know Peter Kay? This Manchester Arena thing, you couldn't make it up. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Royals. We'll talk about the Who, not the Who, not the Who, the rock band, the Who. Hang on. Chip, thank you for that. Honestly, I'm supposed to read it, and I'm supposed to say it as I'm reading it. But Jip always posts most entertaining stuff that I just read it. Not very professional like Adrian, no. So we're going to talk about the WHO pandemic treaty. You know, it's going to be ratified in a couple of weeks. Need to put that on your radar just in case, because you know what they're going to do, don't you? They're going to bend us over with another pandemic. This time, we're not getting out of it. We'll talk about the economic migrants, because that's what they are. And we'll talk about Baby Reindeer. Have you watched it yet? I'll try not to give you any spoilers. Meghan and Harry's Nigerian, because you know she's 45% Nigerian. I'm not quite sure which boob, but she's 45% Nigerian. Seemingly, from her DNA. Bless her. She now knows who Harry's dad is. It ain't Charles. I do love all these people that go, oh, he looks like Charles. Look, if I'd had enough plastic surgery, I could look like Lady Diana. Unless you embalmed me as well. Get rid of my pregnancy. So, and I have some news. I have news about merch. Oh, baby. Merch on the way. I have to say thank you to the Scarlet Pimpernel, who I am sure is now completely... Oh, man, Mick. Oh, Mick, I'm going to need a hand. If the prayer numbers are not up, my numbers are never up. I've tried with that bloody lottery to no avail. Oh, tomorrow it's the NSNI tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah. Mick Ross says, Adrian, you slacker. The hymn numbers ain't up yet, and the bowl was dry once again. So I stopped it up. To who out in the fields? Reminder Santa Claus rides them, not jockeys. Oh, the reindeers, baby reindeers. Honestly, if you've not seen, I do hope that Amalia Grassi is in the house. Sorry, in the body of the Kirk this evening, because I think Amalia's watched it, and there's bound to be a few others. But I'm telling you, it's one of the best tellies this year, 2024. So, nipping a punch for the first day of the month. Do you want me to show you what an arse looks like? Like that. He did coke and weed and ayahuasca, bless him. Baba O'Reilly. Oh, what a great song that is, Top 69. I completely agree. Hang on, what's Sean saying? Battenberg coloured pot turds? Pot turds? Is that like an adult version of Kattenberg's Pop-Tarts? Or just the afterwards? So, nipping a punch for the first day of the month, May the 1st, 2024. And please don't forget, it's Star Wars Day on Saturday, everyone. May the 4th be with you. Oh, can you not remember back in, was it 2000, when they did the censor? Not the censor. Where they find out what everybody believes in. I was one of those that said I was a Jedi Knight. Loved it. And it got so many that it had to be ratified as a proper religion. So I am technically waiting on 420. Not 404, Mick. So I'm technically a Jedi Knight. I heard Invictus are covering the costs of the night. No, stop that, Rexan. Really? Honestly, it's... Hang on, what's Tower Block Tracy saying? I'll get back to you in a second, Rexan. May the Kattenberg be with you. Brilliant. Brilliant. Me too, Jedi. Oh, I'm always playing with me lightsaber. I mean, I do it in the dark and I do it privately, but there's nothing better than have a good swoosh with your lightsaber. So I'm told, obviously. Rumours. But maybe that's why Mick Tyndall, he's a big old unit, Mick Tyndall. I wonder if that's why he's taken over Invictus, because Harry and Meghan are grifting. So we'll get to that in a second. So live number 79, Wednesday, May 1st, 2024. Next live, Sunday, number 8, E. But it's May the 5th. I would have preferred May the 4th. Just so I could say on a live, May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. So, nipping a punch, first day of the month. Can I also say, everybody knows my background in commercial radio and speech radio and stuff. And I've met, virtually everybody in the industry. Chessboard cat, always polish your lightsaber. Who's saying that, Mick? Like a stood-up soldier cleaning his gun. I do, on the odd occasion, polish me Bobby's helmet. Because I like it to shine in the dark. You know, that badge on the front. It's a lovely shape. And I just vigorously give me old Bobby's helmet a polish. But my favourite's my lightsaber, definitely. Oh, the shine I can get on my lightsaber is no one's business. So, because I've worked virtually every market in the UK, Scotland, Wales, and met everybody, that when I went to Liverpool to work for Radio City, which I loved, we did Rock FM a couple of times, which is one of the groundbreaking radio stations in this country. Loved it. But Stanley Street in Liverpool with Radio City was one of my absolute knocked out the park favourite radio stations that I've ever worked for. And while I was there, there was a very, very, very famous duo called Billy and Wally. And I just wanted to acknowledge Wally Scott at the beginning of this live. For anyone that's worked in radio or knows, sadly, Liverpool is a much sadder place today. one of Liverpool's most famous sons has left the studio for the final time. Wally Scott, R.I.P. Wally Scott has passed away. So hold your plums with Billy and Wally. Well, just everybody in Liverpool knows it. Everybody knows Billy and Wally. Everybody knows Hold Your Plums. It's that famous. And sadly, Wally's passed away. I only found out today. So I just wanted to acknowledge the greats of radio whenever I can in any of these lives, because I'll tell you, a lot of radio people, although they are the way they are on the radio, they're completely different away. Completely different. So, having met both Billy and Wally many, many, many moons ago, R.I.P. Wally Scott. I hope his journey to the next place is smooth and easy for him. Some of the... no, I'm not telling you what the merch is. Do you want me to tell you what the merch is? Do I tell you what the merch is? Neil Cunningham. Yeah, Wally had a really infectious laugh. Lovely, lovely man. Bells are ringing from the church. Oh, Mick, sorry about that. Or it might be the girls in the kitchen. During your tenure at Radio City, did you have much to do with Neil Atkinson? Yeah, I think I did. I always get confused because there was a Neil Atkinson who was a teacher at my school and then went on to do hospital radio in Sunderland with me when I was doing Sunderland Hospital Radio in Sunderland General. And I always get the two Neil Atkinsons mixed up. But yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. The wonderful thing about the Northwest is that kind of everybody knows everybody else, and even from your A-list radio bods down to your gophers and your grunts in the record library or wherever, when they're just getting the stuff out for the stars, darling. Everybody just has a lovely way. Hang on, what's that? Adrian, does the merch contain Battenberg wafers and hibiscus tea, wine? Oh, in the field! Fine idea. No, done. I wish it did. That would be brilliant. No, Akko was local lad, started at Alder Hay Radio. I will have done. You've got to remember, I'm an old boy. I mean, memory's not the best when it's like thousands of people that I've met. But I'm sure, I'm just trying to work out in my head where I met Neil. But his name does ring a bell. If Neil's watching this, I apologise. Right, let's do Rusty Mouse. I'm not standing in that then. Willies or no willies? Oh, I say, Rusty Mouse. It's like, do you know how to make a U-turn? No, give me a pair of wellies and I'll make its eyes blush. Somebody talked about something. What was it? Oh, I wanted to ask you this question. What's your memory like? Is it any good? Can you remember the MMA fight that was coming up? Yeah. Can you not remember? Elon and Zuckerberg. They were taking each other on. They were going to do it MMA. What happened then? And he turned him to. So what happened? Because it was all over. That's what I keep saying to you. You know, if it's in the press, it must be true. And it was all over all of the newspapers around Zuckerberg and Elon getting it on in the cage, in the octagon. Does the merch? Who's that? Two gets in a car. Two gets in a car. No ayahuasca. It's medicine in Peru. It's not medicine over here. Not allowed it. But two kids in a car. I think I've popped your cherry before, but I'll do it again because I enjoy it. To Stuart, I remember a lot of useless info. Nothing important. I feel your pain, Stuart. I do feel your pain. So Elon and Zuckerberg, what happened to the fight? Elon, mate, Elon. How are you, man? What happened to the fight? Did you both pussy out? Well, I never. Nick says, looking forward to the Mike Tyson fight. Yeah, me too. Looking forward to the Conor McGregor fight, June 29th. And then, when is it, August or September, the Tyson and that upstart from YouTube? Tyson's going to muller him. Absolutely. The minute he starts giving him those body shots, Night, night, mate. Night, night. And Mike Tyson is a great businessman, very astute. Gary Waterman. Hang on, Mick, what are you talking about, man? Whiz Bits, same as Kev Seed or White Stuff as we knew him. Neil died a few years back. Thank you, Whiz Bits. Kev Seed, I know him as Showbiz. And I loved Showbiz. If you're watching this, you tart, get in touch, man. Because I loved working with Kev. A very talented guy, very talented broadcaster. Had huge ratings on Radio City at one point. And me and Showbiz we worked up at Rock FM in Preston. Oh, I am telling you, there are so in that right, Kev. We could tell some stories about the Rocking Church. I very much doubt whether Netflix would make a series of it because they would just say, "You're making it up, man." No. Honestly, it was mad. But God, I love Showbiz. I haven't seen him in an age. Love him to bits. With Rossi, Showbiz, Mike Toolan, Emma. There was honestly Rock FM was that Mark Matthews. Sounding like a dog with a hair lip. It was and Kenny. Just a fabulous setup at Rock FM. I went there in 1990. Within 2 weeks of its launch, and took over evenings, and then I kind of left and went Wonders, Radio City, and a few other places, and then I went back in 93 to do mid-mornings. God, I loved it. I loved Rock FM, and I loved the Northwest. I mean, I can't tell you why, but I'm surprised there's not 20,000 Adrians running around. Yeah, Rick Horton. Oh, well, I first met Rick at City, and then we went up to Rock FM, and then he went up to Rock FM as well. Rick's a lovely guy. Fellow Aquarian, lovely guy. Let's talk about, merch. What's it going to include? Who's still pretending to be training and no doping? McGregor. You got to be careful because I know the boys. Man's been charged with the murder of 14-year-old Daniel Anurin after the sword attack in Hainault, which we will talk about this evening because that's a tragedy. That's an awful tragedy. And these politicians who are trying to score points off each other in London. We'll get to that because it does make me angry. It makes me very angry. Andrew James says, Adrian, is there an in-depth reason why Americans don't get irony or sarcasm, but they love puns? Because they're thick. To Viv Kenyon, Wednesday with our Rev Rollins are getting seated. I do hope that the church it looks fairly full this evening. So if you can, just, a little decorum, a little integrity, and a little manners for everyone else. We will be around with a little wafer thin mint and a glass of the old altar wine. Just, to keep you going until supper. Stuart says, evening, Adrian, you wrong. Loved the Kattenberg in the last video. I've now seen it all. I know. Well, there's only us that could really adopt it. I mean, there's nowhere else on the internet that's got our sense of humour and knows what we're talking about. I'm so glad they don't, because we might be in trouble if they did. But Kattenberg, the minute I saw it, I was like, oh, hang on a second, what's going on there? It's a cat, like a cake. And I know there's some very clever cake makers, but that would have taken the Battenberg. Karen Boo says, oh, good evening to everyone. I can truly say I'm well hooked on these lives. Oh, you're smooth talking, Divil Karen. What are we chatting about tonight then, all you wrong-uns? As I've said, a bit of Peter Keir, a bit of the Royals. I mean, Rex Hans said that the gruesome twosome, possibly using the Invictus speech to get their onward journey to Nigeria. I wonder if Meghan's like, Harry, come here. Right, you gimp. You know your daddies, don't you? Yeah, okay. No, has nobody ever told you? She talks like that. I mean, have you not heard her voice? Harry, come here, you gimp. Who you got, Fury or Usyk from Mick? Don't know. I think Usyk might give him a boxing lesson, but Fury, what a chin that boy's got. And if he starts lamping Usyk, I think it's 50-50. I can't call it. I mean, you know, the Deontay Wilder Fury fight. Fury's living off that. He's living off that being knocked out and not being knocked out. So, but Fury's got to come out and do it. He's absolutely categorically going to come out and do it. Otherwise, they're just going to go all over him. He's not going to make the money. And you know which fight everybody wants to see? AJ, Fury. Oh, the potty mouth Fury taking on AJ. I mean, AJ's not. I'm not a fan of his. That's what I was going to tell you. So my ninja buddies in Dublin. I'm not going to give you his real name, but I know him as Serpico. And he's a fabulous martial artist. Fabulous. And Connor used to go to his Portuguese, Serpico's Portuguese dojo and train there. So Connor and I and Serpico's in Conor McGregor's corner when he fights in the UFC. So I might try and get Serpico on before the fight just to see what's what. But I trained with Serpico since 2002. And he's a fabulous martial artist. Fabulous. And all the boys in Dublin, all the Dublin boys, and the rest of the boys around the UK, I'm not going to leave anybody out, but ninjutsu it's not a sport, it's a warrior art. And within the warrior art, we teach the kids that come into it, take up a musical instrument, to take up horse riding and archery and weaponry and open-handed technique. And it's an all-encompassing art that's a lifetime's work. It's not thinking you're Superman and going out there. And I know that there was the Norwich Ninja who went out and was kind of like arresting people. No, I have got stories. And I will tell them, like proper stories. But the head ninja in Dublin is a man called Brian McCarthy, and in my very humble view, he's one of the greatest men walking this planet. He is an insanely awesome teacher of the martial way, the warrior way. He's also a very gentle, peaceable man. But his art and his ability and technique is second to none. And he's been in since the beginning of the 80s. There is a great story there. And I'll try and get Brian onto the channel because he has a wonderful story to tell. Amazing. Really, just amazing. I can't really find that. When are you writing a book then? Says Jip Atkinson. Oh, honestly, stick a broom up my backside and I'll sweep while I go, Jip. I'm not sure. I would love to, though. I mean, but there's I fancy a couple of books. One, Ninja, because I know so much about having trained in the warrior art for 20 years. Maybe I should write one about the Knights Templar, about which I know quite a bit. And every time I go away, on little weekends away, I always go looking for evidence of the Templars. And a couple of weeks I'm going to Sicily. Been there quite a few times. Love Sicily. But we're going out west-ish. And some of the headquarters of the Templars are out west in Sicily. Can't wait to do a bit of digging. Anyway, stop distracting me, you wrong-uns. I'm trying to get through. Tower Block Tracy's in the house tonight. You wrong-uns. As Tower Block Tracy says, my word, what a bunch of eager beavers. Don't you be putting your beaver anywhere in my clean church, Tower Block Tracy, you utter wrong. Chip says, I'm glad to see questions about the pro-Palestinian protesters in the US, such as, are they here on a visa? Clever. Napoleon Bonaparte, welcome, sir. He says, you're wrong. Reverend Allen, you were right. Another season finale, and this year they found less than ever. Oh, curse of Napoleon blown apart. Hang on, what day is it? Wednesday. Oh, I'll not see it till tomorrow. The Curse of Oak Island. So angry. I could throw the phone down. So they found Nout. there's this telly program. It's been going since 2014, so it's been going 10 years. And I've watched literally all 400 odd episodes. And what they do is, the gold is actually how much money they're making from the telly episodes. Because you've got, 148 territories, times that by 10 or 20 grand a program, because the money's gone out of telly, because we're all watching YouTube, we're all watching stuff like this. So they make the money by selling the episodes, and the episodes are, oh, it's Kelly with his metal detector. Oh, look what I found, Bobby Dazzler. Oh, how are man, Gary? Find something bloody interesting, man. Oh, this is 1,000 years old, right? What is it? Don't know. What do you mean you don't know? It's 1,000 years old. Well, we'll give it to an expert. And then, anybody fancy a holiday in Europe? Napoleon Bonaparte will corroborate what I'm saying. Anybody fancy a holiday in Europe? Let's go and look for the Knight Templars. Well, they died off in 1300 and odd, Friday the 13th, when they were all arrested and then executed. Oh, I say, no, Knights Templar. Oh, it's the HO stone, and it's blah, blah, blah. Napoleon Bonaparte will know what I'm talking about. And I was looking for a real doozy of a... Gary Darcy, sorry, Adrian, I'll try better. Sorry, Gary, what you been up to, man? And do you know what I love about doing these lives? I love doing the Ask Adrian Anything, and I love the interaction that we have and the community that we have, where there's a lot of critical thinkers in the audience to this channel, and they get it. They absolutely get it. So I would prefer to have a smallish channel where everybody gets it and everybody understands what we're about and has the best time on these lives, whether they're an hour or 2 or 3. I nearly did 3 hours on Sunday. I was going to go for 3 hours, but my age could have been a heart attack. So I'm joking. So Napoleon Bonaparte, thank you for the heads up. I'm gutted though, absolutely gutted. Where are we? Yeah, Napoleon Bonaparte continues, and good all day all, wherever you are, and budge up. Don't be sitting on Napoleon Bonaparte's Battenberg, and watch out for the Kattenberg. Give it a stroke. Give the Kirk pussy a stroke when you can. And if you hear any purring, it's not me before you start. Neil Cunningham, evening Battenbergers. Evening Battenbergers. Nuts and Bolts says, I hope Paula Venables isn't reading the sermon this evening. No, she's got no chance. Oh, I nearly got myself into legal trouble there. No, she's not going to be reading the sermon tonight. Any perceived shortages on the collection plate, and we will all be held in limbo under the threat of purgatory. Oh, I understand, Nuts and Bolts. Yeah, they'd probably charge us. Are we allowed computers? Everyone leaves their mobile phones at the door, obviously. I think we might get away with it. Rusty Mouse, is there room for one more? Always, Rusty Mouse, always. So budge up, everybody. Stop being, a little broader in the beam. One's obviously been having far too much roast Yorkshire and beef. Nuts and bolts. If you've got welly boots, you can stand in the font. Laughing. Oh, yes, why not? Why? What we should have done. DC, we missed it. What we should have done is we should have invited Russell Brand to the Kirk and said, Russell, mate, we'll baptise you. We'll hold you bloody down. I wonder if I get into contact with him. Hey, Russell, if you manage to watch this, mate, remember I was the first one with the Black Swan event. You're 6 months too late, man. And if you want, I'll happily do the... who's going to stand in his welly boots? Oh, Rusty Mouse. Rusty Mouse can help out. We'll all just jump in the font, and then we'll dip you. Can you imagine? Not John the Baptist. I didn't swear. I said John the Baptist, not John the Cockney. I'll do it. I'll do it for half price. And who else was there? There was... Neil Cunningham says the body of the Kirk's filling up nicely. I think it's spiffing. Right, I'm not having Andrew James talk about me when I'm playing my cello. Big Wood. and Jim Atkinson's in, Gary Darcy, the Reverend Adrian, the Edinburgh is in the kirk, and Tarblock Tracy, evening churchgoers, all take your seats quickly and quietly, feet off the pews, TBT, we'll be taking confession after the live on my channel, you dirty tart. Let's go with merch, now that we're well over 20 minutes in. We're having some new mugs printed. That's all I'm going to say, but it helps the channel. So if you feel so inclined, you can buy one. If you don't, then don't. But I'll be flashing mine and my mug on this channel. Hang on, who said what? Okay. Already did Vivian and do every video in live. Oh, that's it. Yes, hit the likes, you're wrong. Smash the likes. And if you don't, you're a mardy old tart. God, I nearly stuck my finger up my nose. So let's talk about Baby Reindeer, because it is. I'm an utter wrong'un, says Talker69. I'm not a wrong'un, I'm an utter wrong'un. You might like the new mug then. Baby Reindeer. I'm going to try and not do any spoilers, because I think it's this word of mouth. Everybody's sort of talking about it, and I just kept seeing everybody going, wow, have you not watched it? Wow. And it's that kind of FOMO thing, fear of missing out. And you go, okay, let's have a look at this and see what's going on. I will tell you this, if you haven't seen this, it's the best telly this year, 2024. Aye, man. And TV like this doesn't come around often. I mean, even Netflix, when we were in the pandemic and lockdown and we couldn't go anywhere and we just kind of like, oh, do we have to watch something else again? There was some decent stuff, but then I got a bit bored with Netflix, especially when they started turning around and saying, I mean, we have our own, obviously, we pay for it. We're not one of these who gets like a code or something from somebody else. We have our own profile, Netflix profile, thank you. And I will tell you that there's very little on Netflix like this. It's rich. It's, what can I say? So the two main protagonists, Richard Gadd and Jessica Gunning. Now, Richard Gadd, he wrote it, directed it, starred in it, edited it, made the coffee, did everything. I'm sure you would be able to get a copy online somewhere. Now, I can't suggest you do anything illegal. You're wrong. But, Viv, are you following me on X? Follow me on X. Tell me whether you are or not. I'll follow you back, and I'll guide you and advise you so that you can see it. Now, this is the Richard Gadd and Jessica Gunning are exceptional. They are exceptional because you believe them from the off. That's the art of an actor. Just make believe. And they do. And it's all... I'm trying to dance around here so I don't give any spoilers, so that when you watch it, you kind of go, oh... And there's some bits in it that you kind of go, oh, and the ensemble is phenomenal. Every single actor in this series is phenomenal. And the two main leads are Scottish, and the rest of the actors are just incredible, man. They're just, I mean, the whole thing you believe, the whole... And a lot of the stuff that happens, you kind of go, yeah, that would happen. I mean, I've had a few stalkers in my time. One, via this channel. Other one, not as bad as this, but pretty close. I I had to get the police involved. And the cop that was looking after me was a gentleman. But thing is, if I tell you here, you're probably just thinking, Johnny Big Bollocks, Adrian. But genuinely, no, it was. I don't know why. I didn't. While I'm talking here, I'm trying to work out what I can legally say and get away with. And me inbuilt lawyer's going, no, Adrian, no, Adrian, no, Adrian. No, you can't say that, Adrian. No. But it was shocking. That's all I can say. I was followed home one night. And all I'll say is that I left this radio station where I was working at 1 o'clock in the morning. I just said, I'm knackered. I'm going to go home. Going to go quite quickly. Normally, stay around, talk to security, talk to whomever I'm working with, have a cuppa. And I just said, I'm going to go. So pulls the car out, starts my journey, and there's a car behind me. Looked like a Land Rover Discovery. And I couldn't work out because at 1 o'clock in the morning there was very few cars. The journey that I undertook, very few cars, and they were. So I was on a main arterial route. I came off the main arterial route within a few minutes. I was parked outside my house, and nobody, because it was a bit of a cul-de-sac. Nobody came there. It was in the middle of nowhere. It was in a cul-de-sac, and this Land Rover Discovery drove past my house, and I thought, I'm in trouble here. And I didn't know what to do. Technically, they'd done nothing. 3 days later, 2 women turned up at my front door, banging on the door, come out, wherever you are. And I was like, hang on a second. Who's? Oh, it's her. With a mate. What do they want to come in here for? So I rang the radio station boss and I went, boss, might not be in work tonight. Oh, why? Everything okay? What's wrong? Medical emergency or something? I said, no, I've got a couple of stalkers outside my house. They've evidently had me followed. Find out where I live, and they've just appeared. And I managed, I can't remember. I stayed in the house, made out that there was nobody in the house. And my neighbour came out and went, wait, what are you doing? And they went, we're just here seeing Adrian. And he went, right, does he know you're coming? Unfortunate turn of phrase for my neighbour. He just basically said, here, sling your hook. Otherwise I'm calling the cops. Because they were making a bit of a racket and they were doing stuff. And I rang, and the boss, my radio station boss, was on the phone all the time, that my neighbour was like, sling your hook, Foxtrot Oscar. And he said to me, right, Adrian, don't worry, we'll have a word with the police. Do you know who they are? So I know who one of them is. I'm not quite sure who her oppo is. We got the police involved. You heard a phrase, gypsy's warning. Cops went round and went, right, we know you've got cops in your family and you were married to one. So you know what the deal is. You either stop it or we're going to have to come back and then we'll escalate it. So stop it. And there was a couple of more phone calls where she was describing a bit like this Baby Reindeer, what she graphically was going to do to me. And it wasn't, it was more in a thing. And she, some of it was, so I said to this cop, I said, hey, have a listen to this. Oh, I say, he said, she's rather explicit. I said, yeah, I know, but I don't want them on my, because it was about the time where journalists were ringing, so they could ring your answer service and punch in the, most people had 0000. And was that Jip Atkinson? Jip, you're wrong. They just wanted a sip of your hibiscus. They weren't getting any. I'm a tight northerner. Nobody gets my hibiscus. And so they were told what was what by this marvellous copper and in this particular place. So I'm not telling you any more information about that because she was proper bunny boiler. Proper. So if you haven't seen, and I would suggest that you find a way of doing so. That Baby Reindeer is very much like that. Very. I mean, I was watching it thinking, have they been watching me? Or have they talked to me about my life? But Richard Gadd, seemingly, it's a true story, and it's if it was fiction, it would be funny enough. But Richard Gadd's like taking this stalker story that he was the main protagonist. He was the one that was being stalked by this nut job, and he told the story. And the telling of the story is marvelous, absolutely marvelous. Seemingly 5 million people watched it in the first week. Not bad business for Netflix. So the acting, the directing, the pacing, writing, it's all beautiful. And I would suggest that Richard Gadd, the main character in Baby Reindeer, is a star. If he's got that much talent, and the script, the writing is really deep and nuanced, and it's just magnificent. Loads of twists and turns. But Netflix have something I've worked out. Netflix, what they do is they say a 6-parter. They'll do 5 parts one way, so you're thinking like, crime documentary or something. So the first 5 parts will be one way, and you're leaning towards thinking this way, and then in the final episode, it's nothing like the previous 5 episodes, and you go, why didn't they just tell me that in the first episode? But that's the Netflix thing. They don't, but they do. They give you the story. It's all nuanced. After episode 5 or 6, I was like, where's she gone? Where's the chunky girl gone? She's bound to come back into this. And she did. And there's so much more that meets the eye. It's you can watch it again and get lots from it. So those that have watched it, we'll do a quick poll. Those that have watched? Am I turning into German? Those that have watched Baby Reindeer, 1 for yes, 2 for no. Is it one of the best TVs of 2024? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Stuart, premature. Ooh, I say. Millie says 2. Millie, you first timer. Jim Atkinson 2. Keith James 2. Remember, 2's an O. Rusty Mouse. Rexanne 2. Andrew James. According to Reddit, Martha has her social media account open. No! I mean, would you on social media? Like, the actress that plays her is a Jessica, not a Martha. But the Martha is proper. P.T. Ham, good to see you, P.T. Ham. Haven't seen you in a while. I would pop your cherry, but you're an old hand at the old Theatre of the Mound. Janice Morrison, 2. Neil Cunningham, 2. Ooh. Am I waxing lyrical about something that you think shite? I thought it was quite good. Is Retro in the house tonight? Nicola Brindley, good evening from Spain. Oh, hello, Nicola. First timer. Look, I'm popping people's cherries like Billy-O tonight. What's going on? Maybe I should have a sound effect. Tablock Tracy, Lone Taylor, no phone boxes, so I leave my card on car windscreens. Sorry about that. Brilliant. Napoleon Blown Apart. Now I've got to watch it. 50-50. Okay, Napoleon Blown Apart. I would say that up to episode 4 and 5, you kind of like that. Well, I was, but maybe there's some contemporary resonance with what I went through a few years ago. It's kind of a deep dive into relationships, and I'm not a fan of these, rom-coms, because they just do. Tablet Tracy, Retro's at sea. I thought he may be. I saw that comment the other day. So, Retro's always good for a comment. Pauline Makepeace, the guy who wrote it was on this morning, and it looked really good from the clip. Yeah, the main character, his real name is Richard Gadd, and not Paul Gadd, Richard. Actually, if I was him, I might have changed my name. So Richard Gadd wrote it, directed it, everything. writing, directing, acting, star. He probably got the funding. I just think it's very good, very, very good. You'll all come back on Wednesday, on Sunday, going, "Oh, how weird, man, Adrian, it's shite, man." Technical term that we use in radio. Now let's get. Thank you for all your votes, by the way. I'll have a look at those once we finish the live. But I want to talk about this. We kind of flip-flop around. We'll do some light stuff and we'll do some weighty and deep stuff. And Bovrill's late. Oh, got here late. I was in the church grounds cutting the grass around the churchyard graves. Ho hum. The old Bovril, that's very kind of you. It does need a trim every now and again, especially around the headstone. I love my headstone trimmed. Thank you very much. And we're going to do some serious stuff, some the weightier stuff. And I know that the main story of this morning is this awful stabbing in Hainaut. And this is why I get really up in a bunch about politicians, because they've all jumped in and used it for political capital, for, pun not intended, for the elections tomorrow. And there are some things that are just so shocking. As a collective, it's so shocking. And as a poor little guy, 14-year-old, minding his own business, comes from a good family, straight up and down family, and he died. So I think there's 5 injured and 1 murdered. Guy's been arrested on a charge of murder, which means that technically I'm going to talk about things in a general sense, because sub judice is a law that's very stringent in this country. So once, in essence, as a journalist, once somebody's been arrested and charged, you can't really talk about that particular incident. But what I can do is talk in general terms, because I haven't named the individual that's involved. And I have to say, a lot of people will give it tight to the boys in blue, and sometimes quite rightly. But if you know the characters within policing, you get your frontline response cops who literally go to anything, and they don't know what they're coming up against once they get there. Just know there's been a shout. Control will say to them, "Go do," and they get there and they don't know what they're coming up against. Similarly, in this case, the response cops got there. Some of them were taser trained, and so sergeants will have appeared, and sergeants are like to get into the thick of things. But inspectors, they're desk jockeys mostly. They're just looking at how many cops they've got on the ground in a certain area. But it started just before the day shift kicked off. Day shift starts about 7 a.m. and this was 6:54. The first shouts come up near a tube station, and this went on for almost 50 minutes. And they were trying to work out, because as I've said to you many times before, it's the golden hour. You can't work out what's going on in a major incident, certainly for the first hour, and then after that it's controlled in certain ways. But 50 minutes, the cops were shouting at the locals just to get back in, lock your door, stay there. They couldn't quite work out where the guy with the sword was, and I understand there's an inspector with a severe wrist injury, and I wish that inspector well, because look, I know a lot of people go, the rozzers, the filth, the fuzz, whatever you want to call them, but when you need them, they run towards, they don't run away. So like the Mumbai marauding attack, where you had gunmen just walking around and loosing off bullets at random people, cops go towards, and they're trained in that. But my question is this: there are 3 other victims, but I've seen the videos, lots of video online yesterday, more this morning. The mainstream media are getting hold of it, and where was the armed response? Because I will tell you for fact, that every knife crime, every sword crime, every sharp crime, whether a bladed crime, is a firearms incident. That's what it is described as, and that's what it is treated as. So the minute they get firearms, the armed response units should have been there first, but they must have been quite a way away. The taser officers, you see in the video that the 3 taser officers are trying to corral this male with the sword into a tight area, and literally as they've loosed the tasers at him to get him under control, the armed response units start turning up and just kind of sauntering in as if it was like, oh, all right then. Napoleon Bonaparte says, British police I've been in contact with always have my respect. Most are amazing. I agree with you, Napoleon Bonaparte. This incident, though, it's the nuances and the subtleties. So a lot of the general public will have been calling in saying, I've seen a man with a samurai sword, because that's how the general public describe it. Technical word for it is katana. It's a 36-inch sword. And I will give you, so if you don't know this, that obviously I train with them. I train open-handed with them in ninjutsu. And the samurai would carry 3 blades. They would carry a tanto, which is a small knife. They would keep it secreted about their person. They would have something called a wakizashi, which is a medium-sized blade, normally 18 to 24 inches. And then you have the katana, which is a long-range weapon, 36 inches. And from the pictures that I've seen, the blade doesn't look curved, and it doesn't look 36 inches. 3 foot. It looks more like a wakizashi, a 2-foot wakizashi, straight blade. And I'm very surprised that they didn't just turn up and take him out. But thankfully, they've arrested him and he can be tried in a court of law. We don't know anything further. But the thing that surprised and shocked me is for the amount of stabbings, there's not much blood on his hoodie. And I can't see any blood on the katana. Now, the level I'm at within ninjutsu, I train with a live blade. I train with a live katana blade. Other lower level students will use a bokken, which is a wooden replica of the katana, and it's slightly curved, but it's a wooden bokken, so that there's no live blades on it. And that's the warrior ways. That's the warrior art of ninjutsu, and we do it, train respectfully, and with both our training partners' safety and our own safety front of mind. But I've said to you before on these lives, there needs to be an adult conversation now. Enough. We're getting a high-profile knife crime virtually every day. And I don't want to get into politics 24 hours before people are electing 37 police and crime commissioners. There's 11 mayors being voted on tomorrow. I don't really want to go anywhere near that. And I don't want to get into the detail of this particular event simply because someone's been charged. And as I say, sub judice covers this story. But this, knowing what I know and knowing what I know how some of this works. And some of it actually surprised me. But one thing didn't. One thing. The cops ran towards a man that had killed another human being. Wow. Tableau Tracy's just said, Katana, as cheap as 12 quid on Temu, with free shipping. Every knife can maim or injure. Do you know, it's not it's not these, some people call them zombie knives, or some people call them attack knives, or some people look at, I'm walking around with a machete. It's ordinarily, it's knives out of the kitchen that are being used. In this case, it was some people call it samurai sword. I know it as a katana. And I have trained with them as a live blade for 20 years. But we need to have, as a collective, as a community, as a sceptred isle, or islands. Who's that? Carl Warby. Carl, first timer. I have a few katanas on my walls and swords, but I'll ask you a question, Carl. Which way have you got them racked? Have you got the Suba and handle and then the blade on your wall? Or do you have the handle, Suba and blade from left to right? Which way do you rack them on your wall? Come on, Carl. I will also say, I think it was Gary that just said there was something about a Sheffield school today. I don't care about these idiotic politicians who are trying to get. I didn't mean to. I'll get to that in a second. I didn't mean to put Carl on the spot. The reason why I asked this is there is a very specific way that you have to rack your katana, wakizashi, and tanto. There is a specific way. And those that are trained in the warrior arts know that every swordsman is right-handed. Every single swordsman is right-handed. And if you go into someone's house and it's racked with the handle on the right-hand side, then the Suba, which is the thing that stops your hand slipping onto the blade, if it's racked and the handle is on the right-hand side, so the person in that house can literally walk up, grab the samurai sword, leave. Because it is seen as a sign of disrespect. Every single sword in anyone's home, so long as they have them legally, should be racked from the left. As I say, every swordsman, irrespective, is right-handed. So they're racked from the left to show deference to those people that are guests in their home. That's how you know a true swordsman. Because they're all racked from the left. I do hope that they don't start banning them, because there are those of us within the warrior ways, the martial ways, who are respectful, who don't go flashing them around, don't carry them around in public. We take great care and caution around what we do and how we train. But whatever the political will is. The podium blown apart. Thank you for that. I mean, it's just, I can't put my hands on it immediately, but I have some books on etiquette and swordsmanship from 20, 30, 40 years ago. They're still as relevant today. And that's one of the basics. If you walk into someone's house, as I say, katana, wakizashi, and tanto, if they're racked the right way, you know that the person's house you are walking into is a respectful house. If you're walking to somebody's house and it's the other way, where you can grab it with your right hand and then off you go for a fight, leave the house. It's disrespectful. They shouldn't have it racked. That's what I'm saying. If it's racked to the left, because the swordsman would have difficulty with his right hand. Every swordsman is right-handed, would have difficulty taking it off the rack. Now, some of the taking the katana out of its sheath and then resheathing it, there's very stylish ways of doing it. And those that are of the martial ways know how to do that with style, but also efficiency. Bad Wolf Project. Traditional Japanese etiquette says that the katana's displayed with it's a suba, not a suka. Suba on the left signals peace, whereas displaying the katana with the suba on the right signals combat readiness. It does indeed. So and the other thing is when I started my training, my ninja teacher, I got a beautiful katana, beautiful, because they can be literally tens and tens and tens of thousands. They can be $100,000 for some of the great sword makers' art. Mine, it was a training sword. But he said to me, to get the other person's energy off, you got to spill some blood. So pinprick, put it on the blade, stick it in the ground, and the ground absorbs all the energy. Long time ago. But it is a life-giving sword. And I don't mean to say that with any disrespect for what we've been told over the last 24 hours. Because it's awful. You know, when a teenager loses their life needlessly, it just sticks and makes me quite angry that this young guy didn't know. It's just awful. Awful. And we look at today's society and it's so violent and angry and aggressive. And I will tell you that, look, I'm from Sunderland. Very few of us survive that. Sunderland's it's a tough place. They don't walk about in the northeast. But I left as soon as I could. I have a rage inside of me that for all my life I've had to control. And my martial ways, my warrior ways allow me to do that with aplomb. But when I see things or hear things like this, it takes a lot of self-discipline to be able to engage with that, because injustice is one of those things that just makes me go, poof. Injustice is the worst thing, and I literally would give my life to defend someone else. And as I said at the beginning, we need to have a conversation. You and I can have a conversation here, but we need as a collective to have a conversation. And this conversation needs to be real. It needs to be present. And it needs to be without rank or fortune or favour. It needs to be right there. And we as a collective, as the whole of society, need to say, enough. Enough. We've had enough. So let's put the troops on the streets of this country. Let's arm the police officers and let's deal with the gangs that openly wander around and use guns against each other. Let's start doing something around this knife crime, and I was on the radio 25 years ago predicting that knife crime would become an epidemic in this country. Why? Because there were people coming from other lands and their predominant mode of defense were knives. They had a knife culture. This is 97, 98. And anybody that listened to me on Century 106 in the East Midlands or in the Northeast or the Northwest, I was saying repeatedly on my radio shows, we're going to be in trouble because they're bringing knives in and a knife culture. And what they've got is that knife culture, and then other people are going to arm themselves. Nicholas says, you do indeed have great self-control. How you never kick the feck out of somebody. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I'm not going to say what that is. I know you're trying to get it out of me, Nicholas, but maybe one day you can tell it because you obviously know what the story is. And I think to round that particular subject off, I think we just need to recognise that there is a a family dealing with an extraordinary circumstance. One of their young men, has been taken from them, needlessly, viciously. And if you believe in this, then just think about that family, because none of us, not you, not I, not anything, can comprehend what that is, what it's going to feel like for that family. Who's that? Gidney Boy, good to see you again, Gidney Boy. It's been a while. My mate in Canada has the highest Dan in Aikido in Canada. Well, it's Kenjutsu. If you the ninja Aikido, I've taken some Aikido classes in Darlington, I think it was, and really enjoyed them. But it's Kenjutsu. The straight blade, the ninja sword, is Kenjutsu. And Aikido is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful warrior art. I mean, if you see somebody respectfully using and utilizing their weaponry as an art, it's a thing of beauty. But the brutality and the violence that we now find ourselves in the midst of, these idiots in the Pink Palace and that little idiot Carnage, I'm not going to talk about this within 24 hours. I will on Sunday, but they're filth. They're absolute filth. Not politicians who are doing it for the best of their community or for the best of society. They're filth. They're crooked and they're filth. And we need to have a system where, and I've said to you before, it always started with the priestly classes, and then it went to the political classes who were ruling the roost for the last 500 years or so, 300 or 400 years maybe, and now we've got the corporate classes running everything, washing money in Ukraine and Israel and everything. So if you wish, if it's something that you feel is something that you'd like to do, just think about this family, this injustice, and the way that this family are. How would you deal with it? If your 14-year-old son me, I would beg the judge, just give me 5 minutes. That's all. 5 minutes. No weapons, bare hands, 5 minutes. And justice would be meted out. I want to put on your. Let's leave that there now, because it's very upsetting, and I want to get into some lighter stuff. But before I get to, I want to congratulate someone who has made me, and this is why this story had such impact about this young guy, the 14-year-old guy. I want to congratulate one of my family. Now, this is YouTube. This is a historical document. I'm not going to bring too much information here, but I will tell you something. One of my family has had a life of challenges, great challenges. And I don't mean as in they were great because they were brilliant. I mean great as in they were tough. And I am going to say this to you and to them, because I know sometimes they catch up with these lives. I couldn't be more proud if I tried. So my family member went to university, did the university thing, and struggled a little bit. But you know something? He's just completed a second degree and got a first-class honours with distinction. Where that's come from, I've no idea. But didn't quit, just kept their head down. And you can't really see, you can't say, ground that out. Because a first class honours with distinction is, that's talent. That is talent. So I wish my family member all the love and congratulations, because that is exceptional and extraordinary. Very proud, very, very proud. Let's talk about the World Health Organization, because, you know, life, it kind of, with one hand it gives you, with the other hand it takes from you. So after all that, you know, and thank you for everyone who's passed on the congratulations, really appreciate it. We have that, and we have that warm fuzzy feeling in a moment, and someone's doing great things, and then all of a sudden the bloody World Health Organization, do you know who funds them? Yeah, Specky Four Eyes, one of the evilest men on planet Earth, friend of Tony Blair, seemingly, because the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has given young Tony Blair, Charles Linton, quite a bit of money. Millions, if the truth be known. So the World Health Organization, you can tell when I get really brassed off, because the lips move, but they don't always work, unlike the politicians, where you can tell when they're lying. The World Health Organization Pandemic Treaty. Now, it's going to be compulsory. So you and I, we have no way of debating this. Mass debate, anyone? And it's going to be ratified in 2 weeks. Now, these politicians in the Pink Palace, you know, the ones that are going, hey, we're going to send them to Rwanda. Yeah, we're going to send them on a plane, on their own, one plane, Rwanda. We'll get to that in a few minutes. But if we sign this and they're not giving you and I the detail of this World Health Organization pandemic treaty, we're going to be forced to hand over a fifth of our medicines, fifth of the jibber jabber. I won't be taking it, and other pandemic related stuff. It's going to be ratified in 2 weeks. Now, I've known about this. This has been on my radar since last October, November. But all of the stuff, all of the sacred arts and the secret arts and the mystic arts of the press and PR, they're not telling you. 2 weeks away from it being ratified by these idiots in the Pink Palace. And then, not only will it be ratified, it will have legal binding law that we have to follow whatever the World Health Organization decides. That's the Bill Gates funded World Health Organization. And he is telling them what to say in a roundabout way. So any of the edicts from the idiots coming out of the World Health Organization, I mean, there's Billboard Chris. If you've not seen the video around Billboard Chris on the channel, I would suggest you go and give yourself half an hour, because he will give you an education and has some incredible information in that little interview that we did. But it's the World Health Organization. They're saying, oh yeah, it's climate change. It's climate change. It's not climate change. As I say, one big word to anybody that goes, it's climate change. Chlorofluorocarbons, you tart. What do you mean? What does that mean? It meant that in the 80s, we were told, massive big hole in the ozone layer. And we were told, oh, we're all going to die. We're all going to die. Every 10 years, we're all going to die. We're all going to die. Honestly, we're all going to die. Well, I hate to tell you this, but nobody gets out of here alive. So I think you bet your sweet bippy, you're quite accurate with that. We're all going to die. But we're not going to die from the bloody ozone layer having a hole in it, because bizarrely, the ozone layer repaired itself. We were told, oh, we're all going to die because the ozone layer's depleted. It's the cows farting in the fields. They must have been laughing their caps off at us, and we turned round and went, hey, shove it. We're not interested. Climate change, my hairy backside. Foxtrot Oscar. So they now want us to eat crickets. I'll play it. I won't eat the buggers. They might do it on I'm a Celebrity, get me out of here. And they go, tastes like chicken. No, not in my house, it don't. I'm not even putting ketchup on them. I'm not having them. I'd rather get me... No, Adrian, you can't do that. Not tonight, anyway. So the World Health Organization, as diseases cross borders, the World Health Organization can dictate to individual countries. So once we ratify this World Health Organization pandemic treaty, once we ratify it, it becomes law in this country. Have a guess who's going to tell us what we can do? No, not the government. They're just puppets. Not the government, not the politicians, not the Houses of Parliament, not the House of Lords. Bill Gates. Bill Foxtrot Oscar Gates. Because he funds them. Follow the money. Should we get to the Royals? Because this is going to be a doozy. So, I did say that, I have said that I'm going to do a video when they extend the days to about 28, 29 hours. And it's really easy to see. Now, public relations, PR for short, is not about getting stuff in the mainstream media. It's not about getting stuff into the papers. It's what you keep out. Now, there used to be a time where, what's his face? He got jailed for those legendary parties, and he would. I can see him, but I can't remember him. Oh, come on, Adrian. He was representing people, and what he would do is he would put stuff in the paper to keep stuff out of the paper. And it was known that on a Thursday, the News of the World would normally doorstep certain types of celebrity, the gay ones, and go, "Here, I thought you were loved up with that bird." Obviously, it's journalistic parlance. And they would go, "Yeah, why? We've got this Polaroid of you having a nosh with that other celebrity on your doorstep." I can't tell you who that is, but it's genuine. And they went, "Oh, and they're still both really famous. Anyway, no, I'll and so what this PR would do is would go to the local lap dancing clubs and go, "Here, come here, we'll give you a couple of grand if you say that you've had like mad sex with that celebrity and how he came round your house." Max Clifford, thank you. Who was that? Lionel, thank you. Yeah, just say you were, make it up, but you had loads of sex. They came around your house, had loads of sex. So that was his MO, Max Clifford, modus operandi. And it was always lap dancers. So if you have access to any of the front page News of the World stories and it's a lap dancer involved, you know that was kept. So that the proper story, the real story of them having a bit of a playing the old pink oboe on the front step of their house never got into the papers. So I'm looking at the Royals now, and the art of the PR, I mean, they can hire the best in the world. They can have anybody they want. Although I have found a story that, again, if they extend the day by like another couple of hours to 32 hours, I might be able to make the video, but I have got some, and I kind of fell over this, doing my research around stuff. But anyway, in time, and I'll tell you when it's coming out. So at the back end of March, just as we went into the Easter holidays, we were told, after the debacle with the AI video and the Photoshop photo with the kids, and remember, we still haven't had anything other than a 13-year-old photograph of William and Kate at their wedding in the last 6 weeks. And we were told in the newspapers, because I've got the newspapers, and I'm going to show you it in the video that's coming. They told us Kate would be back, public duty, April 17th. So, let me just have a guess here. We're now into May. And where's Wally? So there are a lot of conspiracy theories. Now, people go, conspiracy theories. Well, it's the CIA. But we know that they haven't. And that's why Charles has had to be sort of wheeled into the public spotlight to kind of go, King, could you? Because we're up against it now. People are saying, where's Kit? Where's Kit? Well, we were told by the newspapers. Now, either the newspapers were fed wrong information, that's a possibility, or the papers published the wrong information, believing it to be correct information, or the newspapers published it knowing it was a lie. So in this equation, there's something going on, and there's lies being perpetrated. Who's lying? Well, that's for you to decide. But I've got the corroborative evidence, so I know who's lying. And all these sheeple that are just going, oh, lovely, mate, man, Foxtrot, Oscar, don't you actually look at what's going on in the world and determine that they're lying out of their hairy backsides? Who's that? I've told you, work it out for yourself. I've already given you one of two options. And they're obviously sitting in their mansions, Buck Powell, no doubt. And somebody's gone, here, if we feed the press that Princess Anne wants to do Strictly, do you think that will divert everybody's attention away from it? Well, it's worked. So what about Harry and Meghan and, Jam Wars? Is that diverting people's attention? Oh, yes, it's working. And then, she's going over to Nigeria. She's a Nigerian. 45% of her. 55%, she's not Nigerian. Her dad might want to have a word about that. No, Stuart, I'm with you. I'm not paying for a jam either. Jam Wars. The Mail printed a horrible article about Kate. Said the prince thinks she's crazy. Ooh, Jackie, do you know... hang on. Didn't work. But always happy to pop your cherry, Jackie. So... I saw this online, and everybody, listen, people have had enough. They've had enough of being lied to. They have had enough. And somebody was saying, oh, yeah, she likes to go wild swimming. She likes, she likes to go for a dip in the dark. This is a member of the royal family. Don't be stupid. She's never going to go on her own. She's never going to... Look at Diana. Look. Fayed had the best protection with Diana. Boston Breaks. Google it. Boston Breaks technique. And Kes Wingfield and the protection officer that was actually in the car, these are ex-special forces. So when you've got royalty, they have the best protection in the world. 24 hours, 7 days a week. So they're kind of leaking it. I don't know whether they are leaking it so that you and I suddenly go, oh, we're Big Willie style, man. No, you got to do better than that. She's not suddenly going to go for a swim in the middle of the night and then drown. But that was the conspiracy that people were talking about today. Never been to a lap dancing club. Been out with one, though. Nice, Mick. I used to do PR for a lap dancing club in London. Another story, another night. And some people are saying it's all a setup. It's all a setup. It's all a setup for the narrative so that if anything does happen, they go, she drowned, she went wild swimming, it was her thing, she liked to go on her own. But I think what they're doing is they're actually making it up to take the mickey out of you. They're getting their kicks. And why would they do that? Because they can. unlimited money, unlimited. And you think, maybe a couple of hundred subs, a couple of thousand subs. No, you're talking about billions unlimited, not just one or two, 50, 100, 200 billion. They've got jewelry that is priceless. Let me explain that to you. You can't buy it because there's not enough money in the world on planet Earth that can buy it. Unless you're France, of course, with all their gold reserves, and China with all their gold reserves. Oh, let me have a think what's going to go on there then. They're hoarding it for a reason. And I told you, the Black Swan event's coming 2024. 2024 is going to make 2023 look like... Hang on. 2024 is going to look like 2023 on steroids. I'm so glad I got that out. So, I can't remember who that was who said that. But yeah, I get it. That they're just chucking stuff out there. And the news cycle is now 24 hours. It used to be 7 days. It's less than 24 hours. A news breaks at 4 o'clock on, say, I don't know, Monday afternoon. Story will break at 4 o'clock Monday afternoon. By 4 o'clock Tuesday afternoon, it's gone. Dealt with. Everybody's had the feeding frenzy overnight into America, and then back lunchtime, and then it's done. It's done. Unless it's a major case, in which case it's 2 or 3 days at the very outside. So if you look at this, the way they're managing this royal story, they're using Anne, they're using Sophie in Ukraine, they're using Harry and Meghan. Jesus, I mean, these two are simpletons. They're idiot savants. They're just, we're going to, yes, well, I'm going to make a speech at Invictus. Obviously, somebody's picking the tab up for that. And then they're flying on private jets to Nigeria. So the whole family, even the Queen, they're now saying that Kate fell out with Queen Camilla. Now, if you look at what's happened over the last, when did Diana go? 97. If you look at the last 37 years, that's how long Diana's been dead. It's 2024, 24 and 3. 27 years. Oh, I say, never make a dart player, Adrian. But in that 27 years, everybody was kicking off. Oh, it was murder, it was this, it was that, it was the other. Fire had his own take on things. 27 years later, knock, knock. Who's there? Diana. Diana who? Ah, well, that's royalty for you. So we could have a situation where, and to think this through, where are the kids? Where are the kids? Because if anything's happened to Catherine, you'll bet your sweet Bibi, you'll see it in the kids' faces. She's not around. She's been gone 6 weeks. No, hang on. So the last time she was seen was 28th of December, 2023. She's not been seen for 4 months. Neither of the kids. They're all old photographs. And then they released something where Kate and William on their wedding day 13 years ago. I mean, do they think we're stupid? That's a very good point, Napoleon blown apart. England's view of the royals changed right after Diana passed. I agree with you. There was, can you remember the time I was working on the Brompton Road opposite Harrods? Fayed had a building that was sort of, do you want me to tell you a story that nobody knows? So 7 floors. I think Liberty 963 was on the 7th floor. We were kind of at the top. But above that, I'm going to have to change some names. But above that, Fayed was building a couple of apartments, like really swanky, very nice apartments for 2 individuals. And Fayed was not taking no for an answer. So I don't know whether you've heard me tell the story of the 2 workies that ogled and were completely inappropriate with a lady in a very summery dress who just happened to be the girlfriend of one of the most violent criminals in the British jailing system. But in the building that I was in, there was a tunnel from Harrods across the road, so you could either come from Harrods to the building in the sort of private underpass under the Brompton Road, or you could leave the building that I was in and go across to Harrods in this underpass. And Fired he had all the phones tapped in Harrods and everywhere. He had all the phones tapped, and technically it wasn't against the law because he owned everything and he owned the phone system, so it wasn't illegal. He could do it, and we all kind of knew. So sometimes I'd just get silly on the phone to make stuff up, and so these two characters must have worked out that Fired had all of the corridors and the whole building cameraed up. And there were rumours about one of them, and I'm not going to go into it, because A, they're still alive, and B, they're multimillionaires, and C, they've probably got very good lawyers. But they absolutely steadfastly refused to stay. And these are not just like, a little council estate flat. This was, thank you, the old Bovril, and it was proper pucker, very, very wealthy apartments, massive, the size of football fields. I'll wait. So, but they just said, no, because there was cameras everywhere. And if you kind of did anything or brought anybody back, so to speak, then Fired would have it. Like Epstein's honey traps and P. Diddy's honey traps. Notice how that story's gone. Young Harold fraternising with P. Diddy and all these parties. That's disappeared. Oh, that was gotten rid of. Too sweet. But these apartments were massive. They were across the whole of the top floor of this building on the Brompton Road, which was sizable. I mean, massive. And no, they wouldn't, because there was cameras everywhere. And the security, I used to talk, the most important people in any building, anywhere in the world, is the receptionist and the security. Why? Because they see everything, they know everything. So if you want anything, just talk to security or just talk to the receptionist. They didn't, and they left shortly afterwards, and I thought, aye. And then one of them got a kicking in a car once. That's all I'm going to say. Just a little story to throw out there. Let's get back to the royals. So, no, we don't know where Kate is. We don't know what's going on. But more importantly, the corroborative clues and evidence will come from the kids. Where are they? Don't be giving us a little Louis, 6-year-old. Picture taken last year. Where is he? Are they back at school? Hands on strictly. King Charles. Have you noticed the well-hung lesbian has disappeared? Look at his fingers. I'll do a video tomorrow and I'll stick the pictures up there. His very good. His fingers have gone down a bit, if not the pun intended, really. But take the gag where you can get it. And Sophie's in Ukraine, and then H&M. They are the blast wall. They are the firewall. H&M, Harry and Meghan, they're the firewall to get people's attention away from the actual story. And even there's Big Willie style. He's up in Newcastle, where, I think he was in Seaham first. And let me tell you, Seaham? Oh, I say. Seaham? Now, I know Seaham like the back of my hand. It's a pit village. And he was up there in Seaham. And then he went up to Newcastle and nobody said to him, "Here, Willie, man, where is she? Have you got her hidden somewhere?" Let me tell you this. For sure. Yeah, as Napoleon Bonaparte says, are the kids not in school? Does anyone know? There's a deal. There's a deal with the mainstream media. All of the red tops, all of the Sun, Mirror, Mail, Telegraph, Times, all of the newspapers, the editors have probably had a meeting in Buckingham Palace. and have been told what the problem is with Charles and what the problem is with Kate. If there is a problem with Kate, there definitely is with Charles, but we were initially told, and this is where the waters get muddied. We were told that Kate was going in for a planned operation. Well, we know that they planned to go to Italy. So that's a lie for a kickoff. And then they said, when she's well enough, she will return to royal duties in April. They used that phrase, in April. But when she had the operation, when they took whatever they took out, and I'm not going to be disrespectful and mention it here, you probably can guess, that what they did was they removed whatever they removed by keyhole, and then they found pre-cancerous cells. Not cancer as you and I would know it, not a tumor, but pre-cancerous cells. And they then said, and the AI video said, they are using chemotherapy as a precaution, not cancer treatment. But the newspapers are so loose and the journalists are so lax, they just go, oh yeah, she's being treated for cancer. No, she's not being treated for cancer. The king is being treated for cancer because he's got it. Pancreatic cancer. Ooh. 18 months according to GB Patriot. Evening GB. So, look, I will give this to you, and I don't need any corroborative evidence because you already know. There is games afoot. You know that something just isn't quite right. You don't know what that is, but you know that there is something not quite right. They're not going to tell us until they're ready. They're one of the oldest bloodlines in the world, ever. They're one of the richest families in the world, ever. They're one of the most famous families in the world, ever, apart from the Orsinis, of course. You don't know about them. Another night, another conversation. But what they do is they use the members of the royal family to cover stuff up so that you can't see what's going on. And if you do see something, it's like, oh, is it that? By the Wolf Project, treating the public like mushrooms, kept in the dark. And fed shizzle. Let's talk about this idiocy. So it looks like Piers Morgan has lost his bet then. Didn't he shake his hand with Rich Boy? And Rich Boy says, £1,000. I mean, how crass. £1,000, Piers, you can afford that. Let's have a bet. Bet you get one of these planes away. And then in the Sun today, front page of the Sun, oh, the first migrants gone, the first economic migrants gone to Rwanda. On one plane, on their own. On Monday. And oh, well, you know, they'll be unpacking now. Unpacking what? So they've just done it the day before the local elections. Man. Can you not see through that? That they've done it just before so that they could say, we've got rid of them. So anybody on the doorstep tomorrow that's going to go out and vote, the government can say, oh yes, we got rid of them. It'll be all over the press in the morning. One's gone. One has gone for billions of pounds. Rwanda's like, oh, Rich Boy, mate, how much are you paying for all this? I know it wasn't a private jet, Chip. I think it was probably 737. I mean, I was thinking about this earlier today to kind of give you a juxtaposition. That I was flying up and down from, when I was at LBC, I was flying up and down from London to Teesside, where I had a home at the time. And I was 5 minutes from Teesside Airport, brilliant. And I would just, I would land, and I was staying in a hotel in London while I was at LBC. So it was all very comfortable. It was very lovely. And then I'd finished on air and went straight across to Heathrow to get this flight. And I got on the flight and I was like, hang on, where's all the passengers? And the crew said, there isn't any. I said, just me. And he said, well, yeah, why? I was like, hang on a second. Why am I the only one on the plane? I've paid me ticket and everything, but why am I the only one on the plane? And they said, because we don't want to lose this route. So if we kind of go, no, there's not enough passengers to keep it going, so we'll hand it back. Somebody else to get it, and we've lost it forever and ever and ever. So it was me, feet up, and they said, oh, can you sit beside one of the safety doors? I was like, there's only me on the plane, me and you, three crew, 2 pilots and me. On a 737 or 747, whatever it was. But the only reason I was on me Todd was because they wanted to keep it open. Martin, you're wronging. Hang on. I will say thank you to all the great Battenbergers that are helping the channel tonight. But Martin says, Adrian, I love you to bits, but do you take inspiration from Reg Varney? Would he say? How very dare you? This is mine. It's not anybody else's. Brilliant. Martin, are you going to do another parody? Bet you can't get the air right. Me neither. So what was I saying? Yeah, they've got one out to Rwanda. Finally. And again, it's another story that I have to be very careful with legally for sub judice, but I can give you the bare bones of the details because 2 people have been charged. But you know the Sycamore Gap tree, and I quite understand that there were lots and lots and lots of people very upset at this. But the good news is that 2 people have been charged with the felling of the Sycamore Gap tree and the damage to Hadrian's Wall. Where's Hadrian's Wall? Around Hadrian's house. And they've been charged with criminal damage. They're going to be tried by JPs later this month. And I understand that the 16-year-old, you remember initially where there was all these subterfuge, rumours and supposition. The 16-year-old and the former lumberjack that's 69 arrested at the time will not face any further action. And I think because of the profile of the story, they should be given some kind of compensation. Because certainly one or both, the fingers were being pointed and saying, he's guilty. Hang on. Oh, right, okay. So let's see how that plays out. But that's, it's now just a column inch. It's no longer front page headlines. But 2 people have been charged with the felling of Sycamore Gap tree and damage to Hadrian's Wall. That's ongoing. I was going to ask you, I have got a few questions, but I've gone on so about all these different... we'll do kind of a quick fire round, I think. A couple of questions. Again, 1 for yes, 2 for no. 1 for yes, 2 for no. First question. Are you suspicious around Russell Brand and his baptism? Am I just being a really cynical old tart? Are you suspicious around Russell Brand and his baptism? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Are you suspicious around Russell Brand and his baptism? Wally voting. Oh, the Kirk is full of cynical old tarts this evening. Funny though. And I've got a couple of other questions that I want to ask you. Right, I've got 2 for Mrs. Blown Apart. Oh, I say, someone believes him? Because I don't. Look, I'm as cynical as they come. And you would have thought, look, I've been to the River Jordan where seemingly the Jesus, because you can't call him Jesus now, because they go, oh, I say, you can't call him Jesus. Why not? That's what they call him in the Bible. Yeah, well, yes, Jesus Christ. No, just Jesus of Nazareth, because the Christ is the Christ consciousness once he rose again. He is not the Christ until he is risen, mate. So I've, right, I'm going to tell you this once. I'm never going to tell this story again. But at 11-year-old, I preached at my local Pentecostal church. 11-year-old, giving a sermon. That's why I'm the Reverend Adrian Allen. What can I say? So I'm not, just, you know, I like to bring stuff that you have no idea about to each of these lives. So I've kind of preached a bit, and I've been there for many, many, many baptisms. Many. In a Pentecostal church. Now, obviously, you've got people being baptized when they're children by the perverts, but I would have thought that being baptized in the River Thames with all those turds floating by, the river is disgusting. Why would you? Well, why would you? But what I would do, and I always say this to you, that's why, you know, I keep the newspaper, so I've got corroborative evidence. I always say to you, I'll only say something that I've got the backup for. I would have taken a video of that. I would have been like, oh, hello, you wrong uns. Welcome to the body of the kirk. We're just going to have some synchronized drowning now. This is John the Baptist, and, well, he's going to drown me. Hope you don't mind. I'm dressed all in white. Dip, sheep dip, up. Because they don't kind of chuck you under and then keep you under for half an hour. It's like a millisecond. Quick, whoosh, up, baptized. All your sins have been washed away. But why wouldn't you? Why can't you give proof? And there's Candace Owen going, oh, I say, she's converted to Christianity. She's converted to Catholicism. And what are they doing this for? You don't need to convert to anything. Unless you're externalizing it. For what reason? Told you about Jimmy Swaggart. Told you that story the other day in a video. So if it's... who said it? Rexanne says, I love Pentecostal baptism. It's better than clubbing. Very good. Pure joy. Well, I kind of get that. I've never... My dad was High Church of England. My mum was just an utter Runnng. I wasn't. I was kind of christened but not baptised. And when they were like, Adrian, do you fancy some synchronised drowning? No, I bloody don't. What do you mean? No to us. It'll be bollocks to the Pope next. And I was like, no, I don't need to do that. I'm fine. You know, I don't carry much sin around with me. No. I'm pure living. Don't drink, don't smoke. What do you do? What do you mean? Anyway, you would have proof. Because you're a high profile multimedia person, you would have the proof. And have you seen any? No, of course you haven't. He's gone swimming in the Thames. Is this, is this baptisement? No, that's breaststroke. Oh, okay then. So So we've had that. Are you suspicious about Russell Brand and his baptism? Right. Deep one. We love it deep. Should we allow people to die with dignity? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Should we allow people to die with dignity? Because we've got this kind of debate going on in the Daily Express and Esther Ranson, who obviously they can't get a picture of now because she's not a very well lady. So do we, as an evolved species in 2024, should we allow people to die with dignity? 1 for yes, 2 for no. That seems a... Martin Sullivan 74, which is 11. 1 and 1 is 2. Numerology. Got to be a good darts player. And, right, thank you for that. Thank you for all the cynical old tarts. We've had 2 questions. One more question before I go into some other stuff. Please, 1 for yes, 2 for no. Have you had enough of Taylor Swift? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Don't let me sway your decision. have you had enough of Taylor Swift? And the reason I say that is because BBC viewers and listeners are complaining to the BBC. They want they don't want Swifty-tastic music on the BBC, because they reckon that the BBC, they're only in search of the younger audience. So no, the BBC, the listeners to the BBC are like, oh, had a win, shite, man. We don't want any more Taylor Swift. It's country. Oh, country music. Honestly, I'd rather stab my own eyes out. Country music. Who likes country music apart from Beyonce? So, have you had enough of Taylor Swifty? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Oh, Napoleon blown apart is definitely 2 for her. Marks out of 2. Napoleon blown apart, you'd give her 1. I wanted to just let you know that tomorrow, just in case you are going to go and vote at some point tomorrow, that you're going, according to the Electoral Commission, you're going to need photo ID to vote. I'm so glad that I've recently renewed my passport, because I can go and say, oh, I live here. I live in this sceptred isle. Look at that fizzog there. That's moi. Are you sure? Yeah. So tomorrow, if you go voting, the Electoral Commission have said you need a photo ID to vote. Don't forget. 37 police and crime commissioners will be elected. I can't even say it. 11 regional mayoral contestants or candidates. And I will tell you, there was one night on the BBC. We did this. So what the WEF in Davos and the Europeans wanted to do was they wanted to have a regional parliament in the northeast, because they thought the lefties, the Reds in the northeast, would readily accept it. So they had this massive big vote, and the massive big vote returned a definite Foxtrot Oscar to that little plan. I mean, they built the Parliament building in Durham, and they just, oh yeah, we'll get it. And everybody was like, no mate, we're not interested. Foxtrot Oscar. And we held this night where we had an anchor in the studio, and I was like racing around in this massive big studio with all the guests and the coffees and the biscuits, and was doing all these interviews. And I remember one guy, he was just, well, he was being a tart, basically. He was just getting up in a bunch, and he was taking liberties. So I said to the main anchor, I said, listen, next time you come to me, I'm going to have a word with this guy. Leave it with me, because I'm going to have a definite word with him. And he's like, what are you going to do? I'll just leave it with me. So anyway, I literally went for his throat. I said, you've been saying this all night. You've been saying that all night. Well, let me just ask you this question. And I asked him this really pointed question. And I could see his eyes just kind of close up. And I could tell his sphincter had suddenly gone 50p sixpence, because it was live on the radio. And the Funyuns, if they think they can get away with it, and I said, well, earlier you said this. Ah, yeah, but well, is it the same? Or are you going to change your mind now, like a usual politician? And I literally, for nearly 7 minutes, I didn't give them the lickings of a dog. I mean, I wish I'd had it recorded, because I would play it for you. This politician who shan't, I won't give you his colour or his hue of politics or anything, but for 7 minutes I had him on the end of my sword, just going, oi, bonny lad, you're talking shite. And the presenter was laughing his cap off, because he was like, do you want a hand back, Adrian? No, I'm fine. But they're all at it. They're all like using stuff today because they want the power. Power corrupts, absolute power corrupts, absolutely. So they're after the power. That's all they care about. That's all they care about. Cool, blimey. Who's that? Stuart. Taylor Swift's going to be here in Dublin in June, if she can get through all the illegal immigrants. So thank you to everyone that's been on this live this evening. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for your interaction. Always, always, always love it. And the next live is Sunday, 8 o'clock, as usual. Don't forget, I'm on X at Adrian Allen if you want to join me over there, because I can interact with you more readily, because YouTube doesn't allow that for some unknown reason. But thank you. Smash the likes, please, because it does help. And make sure you are subscribed for all the videos that are coming. Thank you for your indulgence, as ever, for nearly 2 hours of yakking on. And hang on, what's he doing? I'll have a look at that in a moment. And thank you for your comments on Kattenberg. I'm sure. Hang on. Being we might actually volunteered to go to Rwanda and had nothing to do with the Prime Ministerial Rwanda. Oh, James, I'll have a look at that. Thank you for that. I'll have a look at that when I'm finished. So thank you. Smash the likes. Make sure you subscribe. Thank you for your indulgence. And thank you to all the legendary Battenbergers. I will say thank you when I can, and you will be the legendary Battenbergers at the beginning of the next live. Thank you for that. And do you know something? I came on tonight thinking I'm only going to last half an hour. Just keeps pounding on. Good for my age. So be well, stay safe. More videos coming in the morning. And whatever you do, don't forget the Kattenberg.